Philip Landergan, our chairman this year for Game. And below that, you got Greg Pullman, our director of tabletop gaming. We're here to give you another installment in our Game Time show where we talk about anything and everything you might find in the nerddom. So you never know what we're going to talk about from week to week, but it's almost guaranteed that we're going to talk about the latest movies and TV shows in the Marvel and DC universe. We'll probably touch on board games almost every week, so a little bit of role playing games and things like that. For those who don't know, we're part of what's called Eclectic Endeavors, the group that puts on the Gaming Arts Media Entertainment Expo, the Picnic at the End of the Universe, and Game Time at the Creamery, just to name a few of the things we've done. We right now also do a monthly game at Holdfast Brewing Company, monthly game night, where you'll see Greg Pullman there one weekend a month. Instead of here broadcasting with us, he's there. Not weekend, one Wednesday a month. I don't know why I said weekend. But hope everybody's ready to go. I got to just get my monitors up so I can see who's in channel and stuff. Just give me a second here. We were taking a little bit longer than normal to get set up today. Everybody had those who worked had a tough day at work, and I had just a lot of stuff going on in the nerdosphere that I had to catch up with to be ready for the show tonight. Let's see here. Let me bring up my chat.
Yeah.
Hi, Kitty. I know you want my attention.
Just a few minutes before I was supposed to get off work, had a critical down with for one of our customers that had to help them troubleshoot. It took a couple of hours, 2.5 hours to resolve.
I forgot to even change the topic of this channel. Hold on. Game Time with Doc, Lurch, and Greg. Topic should be podcasts and talk shows. Okay. Make those changes. Hopefully that hot swaps on the thing here. Let's refresh my monitor screen and see if it makes a change. Okay. Yep. Okay. Game Time with Doc Lurch. Okay, and then just waiting to make my chat pop out here in a second. Chat. Connecting to chat. Pop out. Oh, geez, there's something I didn't tell. What's that? Okay, I've got us all set up and ready to go. I'm just waiting for the chat server to finish loading all the way. But anyway, we're here.
Oh, that's the last thing I have to add.
Okay.
And I was going to let you put that. Ouch.
Hold on, there's a little bit of talking behind me and I can't quite think. They're trying to make dinner and stuff at the same time, so anyway. Okay, so we're going to get started here. I think the first topic up, why don't we start with you today, Greg? Which one did you want to talk about first?
It's a little bit of a rehash of a conversation we had a few weeks ago, but Slay the Spire, the deck building roguelike video game, is getting a tabletop adaptation. There's an article going into some detail on Polygon. The basics appear to be it's a 1 to 4 player cooperative game, which is really interesting right off the bat since the video game is single player only. I'm imagining each player, in the event of a multiplayer game, picking a class, the warrior, the silence, the defect, whatever the mystic's name, the monk is called, I forget. and building decks as you go through a series of encounters. It'll be interesting to see how they play out the encounter system, whether they'll try to map it out like in the video game, or just have like a deck of literal encounter cards.
Oh yeah, that'll be something to keep an eye on. Also, T
Yeah,
Papa Slice, welcome to chat. Anyway, go ahead.
the Kickstarter isn't going to be out, I think, for another month or two, but the announcement looked really intriguing. And this isn't the company that made it. This isn't their first Kickstarter. They had one other game under their belt. It's called Imperium: The Contention, which appears to be another kind of a deck building experience, although a little more intrigue and Twilight Imperium ish. But it'll be interesting. I'm glad to see that this isn't their first rodeo.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, it's usually the second or third offering on a company that once they've proved themselves, that really starts to show their stuff. So I can totally understand that. So yeah, it's more video games to board game conversions. We're getting a lot of cross pollination basically between different types of media out there. Like, of course, we're it's the world of comic books right now. I mean, comic books are being converted into video games and movies and TV shows like crazy.
And in contrast to the Darkest Dungeon one that I talked about last time a little bit, I'm hoping that this game will succeed and stand as an example of how to do this kind of transition right, especially since it already has its foot in the door since it's a deck building game already. So it's already in good company with the Hero Realms, Dominion, and dozens of other titles.
Ascension, yeah. And I love deck builders. I know what you mean. In fact, I have a Facebook group called Deck Builder Blitz, although it's been kind of slow lately. Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out for in the board and card game area. Of course, as I said before, Greg is our resident expert on tabletop gaming, being the director of tabletop gaming for Game. Although we all kind of dabble in each other's fields a little bit. My girlfriend is stealing some of my grapes and giving them to the child. That's just not right. Okay. Anyway,
Want some grapes?
yeah, right. Lurch wants some too. He said. She's like, "Come on over." She's handing them out. Anyway, okay. So let's go on to you, Lurch. What did you want to talk about first this week?
Okay, well, so you might remember last week I was talking a little bit about how Super Mario 35 and Super Mario 3D All-Stars were going to no longer be continued at the end of the month.
Right.
And today we're down to the day. This is the last day. This is the shutdown day. So I can't recall now if it's playable today or if it's been. I think it's now dead today. I can't remember now. I didn't get a chance to log into my Switch to double check everything. But this is it. Super Mario 35 no longer playable with today's date. And also Super Mario 3D All-Stars is still playable, but you can no longer purchase it on the digital store. You can re-download it if you already purchased it, but you can no longer purchase it. And they are stopping the production of physical copies. So the physical copies are skyrocketing in price. They had a huge, I think I read it was like 270% boost in sales in the last 2 days because of it coming down to the end of it. And I bring up that a little bit more, to remind people that, about Mario, but also, and their argument is that it was a celebration of his 35th anniversary, and that's why they put these out. And I get the Super Mario 35 game. It's an online game that was free to play. It was this fun little quirky thing where you're doing a battle royale of Super Mario Brothers, the original game. But Super Mario 3D All-Stars is a full package deal that they were selling for $60 for the bundle. And, it's some of the most popular Mario games. I've been streaming Super Mario 64 over on the Left Claw Studios channel a couple times a week for the last few weeks. But those are, and I'm enjoying it a lot. I never played that before, and I'm loving it a lot now. But I'm bringing it up again a little bit today, partly because of that, and partly because we just got news in the last few days that PlayStation is going to be shutting down some of their digital stores. The entire PlayStation 3 digital store, PlayStation Portable, and PlayStation Vita.
Yeah.
Those 3 digital stores are all getting shut down this summer. The PSP and the PS3 stores will be in July, and then the Vita store will be shut down in August. Now, anything you purchase prior to the shutdown date, you still own, and you can re-download them anytime. So that was one thing I was worried about before, was if we was going to be able to re-download them. But they've announced officially that you will be able to re-download anything you've purchased. You just won't be able to purchase anything new after that date.
Yeah, because you got the digital rights to it, so it wouldn't make sense to tell people, oh no, you can't even play the game you bought now.
Yeah.
Especially since some people got a bunch in their library that haven't even opened yet. They just bought them when they were on sale, figuring they'd get to them eventually. And that would suck if you suddenly went to go download. You finally get up to ready to play like Time Crisis or something, and like, oh, sorry, Time Crisis not available no more.
Yeah. And I personally, especially the Vita, I've personally been like looking up like the best PlayStation Vita or best games to play on the PlayStation Vita, and that included PS1 classics that you could play on the Vita. That includes PSP games that you can play on the Vita, but any games that are available in the digital store that are playable on the Vita. I started looking that up, and I made up a list of what's available. I picked out a list of about $150 worth of games at their current prices that I am looking into trying to buy before the store gets shut down.
You made your Santa Claus list and you checked it twice. There you go.
Yeah. And so, I've never played a Persona game before, but man, everywhere you look, everyone you ask, and every website or list, Persona 4 Golden is like one of the top, games that always gets mentioned.
I'm not a big fan, but then everybody's got their own tastes.
Yeah.
Now, touching on the previous thing about Mario, it's worthwhile to mention again. I mean, we've mentioned it a couple other times. This is really the month of Mario because Mario 10th is Mario Day. Then you had all these things happening, and then they're going to finalize the month by closing down some of their availabilities, which is probably mostly, like we talked about before, a marketing ploy. Kind of like how Disney puts stuff in the vault and then brings them out 10 years later or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's what they're probably going to do, is put it in their vault for a little while, wait till the hype gets built up for them again. Right now they've got, like I said, 270% sales. Obviously, it's doing something for them by doing it this way.
Yeah.
And
March 31st is the end of their fiscal year. Mm-hmm. And so, this huge spike in sales just before. But man, like Nintendo games are always going to sell, right? I don't think they're ever going to stop selling Nintendo games. Super Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Super Mario Kart 8 originally came out as a Wii U game, right?
Uh-huh.
And it is still at the top of the sales charts today on the Switch. Like consistently, every month it's in the top sales charts.
And one of the things about the Nintendo games, PlayStation, Xbox, those cater to the gamer. Like me and you and Greg, people who are into getting sinking your teeth in real gaming games. Where Nintendo has always been the one that has got the most titles for the generic casual family gamer. Mm-hmm. It's got stuff like Wii Sports and Mario Kart, something fun that just the family can play together. And yes, there are serious gamers out there that are playing things like Smash Brothers and stuff. But the niche market for Nintendo has always been the family, something you feel wholesome playing with the kids and stuff. There's not as much direct blood and gore necessarily. It's a little bit more cartoony. It's a little bit more,
simpler mechanics, lower bar to entry.
and even in a way, like things like the Wii and the Wii U is also an exercise equipment replacement thing because they got
Oh,
people
the
up there
Switch has
doing
that as well. I don't know if you
Yeah.
know the Switch. The Switch has a next generation motion control in it.
Yeah, so they've got people in there moving their body
And the
doing
Ring Fit is really
exercises.
good.
Yeah. So I guess my point is even though these games, some of these games are old, like Super Mario 64 is from 1995, 96, and we're still buying it now on the Nintendo Switch. You know, there is definitely a market there, and always has been, and always will be a market there for older games. You know,
Well,
and
there's some
that's
staying power with some of those games. I mean, they're
yeah,
classics for a reason. I mean, you weren't talking about it on the podcast, but on one of your previous posts on Facebook, I noticed you saying how you've always liked all the Final Fantasy games you played, and don't know why you hadn't played them all. Final
yeah,
Fantasy has ruled the market since they first came out in America. You know, it's one of the most popular conversions from a Japanese game franchise. And of course, now everybody's playing Final Fantasy 14. Final Fantasy 7 is still considered the undisputed champion of the Final Fantasies. I'm a personal huge fan of 10 and 10 2. Um, you know, so Nintendo has got some great titles in their catalog.
yeah,
And that's what keeps them going, even though the big boys are out there. You know, Xbox and PlayStation are out there, and you know they might be catering mostly to the more hardcore gamers. You can't beat some of the nostalgia from Nintendo, and combined with their ability to appeal to the family.
yeah. And so, these announcements about Mario and then the announcements about the PlayStation Store, they frustrate a lot of people. They frustrate myself as well because I want to always be able to go back and play the older games, at my whim.
But
We're in this.
it's a marketing thing partly. It's also a as you know, working in the computer field, there's only so much open active storage that they want to make available for things. They want to shuffle some of their catalog and put it back in cold storage, basically, put new things out. They want to make room. They want to
Yeah,
encourage people to buy the new stuff, and if they're all buying the old stuff, then the new stuff's not getting as much purchase. So they're trying to find that balance, and they're doing it as marketing ploys, like here, you know, last day of their fiscal year. Let's try to get a huge bump so
yeah,
that our ending stock prices on April 1st are as high as they can possibly be. And they're doing that.
yeah.
I think
So,
that's the more prescient thing going on. It kind of reminds me of how Disney will take movies out of the vault every few months and release the new gold edition or diamond edition or platinum edition, and then they'll put it back in the vault and it'll never be seen again until a couple of years later when they do.
Well, yeah,
yeah,
most of the stuff for the Disney Vault, the general rule of thumb is once it gets retired to the vault, they're not supposed to bring it back for like 10 years. And then it comes back on its 10th anniversary and it's limited edition again. Then it goes back to the
yeah,
vault for a while. They have made a couple of exceptions throughout the years, but like I know they were pretty strict with, like, for instance, Fantasia. You know, they do that.
I'm hoping that Disney Plus kind of gets rid of the vault system.
The vault
You know,
mentality.
Yeah.
yeah. That's something I'm hoping for. I don't know if I have high expectations of that, but
We rented a key to the vault. Let us in the vault. We're giving you money.
Well,
yeah,
especially because, like I said, Disney's still falling down. The Disney Plus on the streaming services is kind of falling behind. I mean, look at having to pay an extra $30 to see Raya and the Dragon, uh,
yeah,
and yet HBO Max people today were watching Godzilla versus Kong for free.
Yeah.
And
And it's not like
apparently, I read something interesting earlier today. Apparently, the region that character is native to, where that story came from, that region doesn't have access to that movie.
oh god.
That's sad.
That is yeah.
Hey, Legacy, how you
Oh.
doing? Welcome, my friend. Good to see you in chat.
But it does raise a lot of questions and a lot of concerns, especially the PlayStation Store shutdown, because they're now selling digital only consoles. The PlayStation 5 digital only system, right? They're trying to encourage people to go with digital only market. And it's not a good look when you're shutting down your older stores, because people want to always be able to get even the older games, you know.
Yeah, but they're trying to do some of that. They're trying to play on the exclusivity situation.
Yeah, it's not
It's a
like
marketing play.
Microsoft. This is one of those things that Microsoft, I think, is doing right. Microsoft is making an effort to bring more of those games, right? Like if you have an Xbox Series X, you can
Right.
still play almost every Xbox One game on it, and a lot of Xbox 360 games on it,
Wow.
and even some classic Xbox games on it. They're trying to get the back catalog, the back compatibility stuff, so you can play the old games on the new hardware. Which that would even be an ideal. Something that I'm really hoping that we get one day is like an official PS3 emulator type thing on the PS5 that's able to play the PS3 games.
Yeah, and they might be
It
in the
has.
works.
I think it's got the power to do it. It just it'd require them writing the software to make it work, you know.
And they probably are in the
And
works of doing it. They're just not ready to launch it yet. First, they
yeah,
have to retire some of this old stuff, then give it a little while, do some market research, decide when the best time to release it is, look at what Xbox is coming out with at the time, look at what Nintendo coming out with at the time, find that window when it's going to give them the best market share to release it, because that's all market research is all about. It's about when sometimes a product gets held over a year before it's put out, just because they're waiting for the right time to put it out.
yeah. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing, you know.
To the consumer, it's very
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah, for consumers, it's frustrating.
To the business execs, it makes perfect sense to them. They're trying to optimize their thing, just like the same reason movie companies don't want to come out with all their best movies all at once. They don't want to compete with themselves. Like
Right. Yeah.
Disney Plus, they did, Falcon and the Winter Soldier after WandaVision, and they're not doing Loki until Falcon and the Winter Soldier is over with. Technically, they're not putting enough on their service. They really should put 2 or 3 things up at once, and they've got them done. They should probably be doing that, but they're trying to eke it out so they have to put the bare minimum new out there at the time.
I think in May we may finally start getting like two. Sorry. I think in May, when Star Wars: The Bad Batch comes out, I think it's when we might finally start seeing 2 different shows concurrently releasing new episodes in the same week.
Well,
Because I think we'll still have Loki coming out at that time and Star Wars: The Bad Batch.
Yeah, but that'll be 2 different franchises, which that they're willing to do a little bit more than, like, they're not going to come out with 2 Marvels at the same time, which would be really nice if they did. But at least come out with a Star Wars.
We're not even getting 2 different shows at the same time of different franchises, you know. Which if I had a new Star Wars episode every week and a new Marvel show every week, that would double my Disney value. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look at the CW and the Arrowverse. They're running 2 or 3 of theirs all the time.
maybe that's it though. Maybe they're trying to pace it out so that you're getting the minimum amount of new content they can justify while still keeping you in that loop.
Oh, that's exactly what they're doing, but they're running a tightrope edge there, a knife blade
Yeah.
edge, because they run
Oh,
the risk
absolutely.
of losing people. Because who wants to, especially since they just bumped Disney up another dollar a month? I think starts tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, it goes up
I
a
did not
dollar.
hear that news.
Yeah, it
Of
was on.
course.
It was one of my mails said it was going up a dollar. Uh, so they're really they're running a fine line, and the trouble is, if they were existing in a vacuum, they might be able to get away with it. But they're existing next to HBO Max, which is doing everything right. HBO Max still has tons of movies coming out all the time, and plus some exclusive original series. Plus, you're getting the direct from theater stuff same day that it's in the movie theaters without charging any extra, and everybody's happy with that. And then they've got their DC franchise, which is working directly with the CW in tandem. Um, and just like the CW, they've got Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl. They try to keep two or three of them going all at once. Yes, they put Superman and Lois on hiatus till May. That's okay. They want to put Supergirl out for focus a little bit, but they didn't put Flash on hiatus. They didn't put
Yeah,
Legacies. They didn't put.
I
CW
can't.
also does a lot more crossover stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I read that the Superman and Lois hiatus was caused by uh filming issues or production issues, pandemic related
Yeah,
delays,
which
and
is
so
perfectly
they needed.
understandable.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
it's total.
understandable. At least they've got a reason for it. They're not just doing it to do it, and
Yeah,
they're at least bringing us something else to watch while they do it. See, they go ahead and premiere Supergirl, and then on April 7th, I think it is, Kung Fu comes out on CW. They've always got something new coming out on CW and always something new coming out on HBO. What's his name? Invincible, the cartoon, is now out on HBO Max, and you get
yeah.
new
I heard
episodes
that's
like
really
every Friday.
good.
I've
I
watched
heard
the
it's really
first
good. I haven't had a chance to watch
four
it yet.
episodes. It's not bad. I like it. Um, they
I
just
just checked. I just found it did go up. You're totally right. The Disney Plus went up by $1 on March 26th.
Yeah, I knew. I just got a mail about it.
$1
Uh,
a month.
and HBO, on the other hand, is giving us lots of quality. In fact, they're putting a bunch of old stuff like in preparation for Godzilla versus Kong coming out. They brought the reboot of Godzilla back on their service, and of course, Godzilla King of Monsters was already on there, and Kong Skull Island. So you could watch all three of the prequels before you watch Godzilla versus Kong. Um, Other movies they brought in have nothing to do with anything else going on right now, but they just brought them in. But they brought the whole series in. They brought all three Beverly Hills Cops just got dropped back, and I just rewatched them all. Great Eddie Murphy. You know, they're making sure that every month you have something new to watch for more than an hour. Disney is giving you an hour a week. That's it.
Yeah.
you
HBO
know,
Max, for my opinion right now, is HBO Max is kind of killing it.
they are. They are the gold standard when it comes to streaming services right now. Netflix is losing market shares left and right.
To be
Hulu,
fair though, they are they're almost to double the price of Disney.
almost, but you know what? You're getting value for it.
It's $15 a month for HBO Max, and with the price increase, it's now $8 a month for Disney Plus. So
Right.
there is a considerable price difference. You're getting a ton of content with it. It used to be $15 a month for not even close to the amount of content we're getting now. I
Yeah,
used to have HBO Now back in the day, and I had it for about a year, and then I canceled it because it just wasn't worth that much for the content we got. But then they rebranded it as HBO Max, brought in a ton more content, got a bunch of Disney or DC content, and tons of other stuff, and
Yeah,
started putting on movies on there right away. And I was like, man, this actually, like, I got the free trial, I think, for Wonder Woman, and then I just signed up because it was so great.
yeah. Me and when I was living with Brandon, Ralphie, we we got HBO now just for Games of Thrones, and once Game of Thrones is over with, we canceled it. We
Yeah,
binge watch Game of Thrones for the season, then we cancel it because it was a little bit pricey to just keep going. But now I'm not
yeah,
I'm not even tempted to cancel HBO Max at all. But I'm tempted to take, if it wasn't for the fact that I like to review the new stuff just as it comes out for Disney Plus, I'd almost wait until each series was finished, get it for a month, binge, and then close it again. You know,
yeah,
but we're reviewing it every week, and I don't like
yeah.
spoilers unless I'm the one making the spoilers. So, and we warn
Yeah.
people here. In fact, we're going to talk about Godzilla versus Kong later today, but we're not doing spoilers today. It's the first day it dropped. It's not fair to nobody. So next week we're going to have our spoiler episode of Godzilla versus Kong. Gives everybody a week to watch it before we spoil everything for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, before we go hitting into the heavy stuff with the different TV shows and movies and things, you had something else you were going to talk about, right, Greg?
Yes, I do. In other board game news, Matt Leacock, who designed the board game Pandemic, and he did the Forbidden Island series, Forbidden Island, Forbidden Sky, Forbidden Desert. He is working on a game about climate change called the tentative title is Climate Crisis. Might be the official title. We're not sure yet.
I know it looks
Yeah.
like from the picture there, it looks similar to Pandemic in some of the mapping.
I
I
think
think
that
this is a picture of Pandemic.
that's a picture of Pandemic. It looks like they don't have a working copy of Climate Crisis yet, but I'm familiar with his work, and they have a link in the Dicebreaker article that I posted to a New York Times interview with Leacock talking about the new project. And it looks like it's going to be along the same lines of his other work. It's going to be a multiplayer co-op experience of resource management, trying to. And what sets this one apart, apparently, from Pandemic is you're not trying to manage a bunch of different resources from overflowing the different diseases. It looks like there's going to be one resource of brown cubes, which represent carbon emissions, and you're trying to prevent those from piling up on the board as best you can. And whether that's going to involve moving all over the board and in a manner similar to Pandemic, or whether it's going to be a more interpersonal resource management experience. There's very little detail. I will say one thing. There's been Stronghold Games took a crack at this a couple years ago. There's a board game called CO2 Second Chance that I actually got to demo at Silver Twilight Games after it came out, and that game was depressingly difficult to win because you were managing there was a board, there was a map of the world split up between different regions, not necessarily continents, but regions of the world. And there's a UN council, and each player is a representative from some kind of technology or industry company. And so you're trying to manage the world's energy needs in a safe and healthy way. But if you don't meet their needs, they're going to dip into fossil fuels and what have you anyway to meet their energy needs. You're also trying to gather resources and intelligence with the United Nations, and you're also trying to complete a side objective that your corporation wants you to do. So it's not really competitive, but it's a little bit semi-competitive, and it is a beast to win.
Pandemic game is no slouch either.
No, it
Pandemic
isn't.
is no slouch, but even we lost so quickly the first time. We had time to reset and play a second game. We didn't even come close.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Like I
that's the
say,
thing
it
about some
was-
of the games. They can be really quick depending on how things fall in the beginning, but otherwise they can drag on forever.
It is depressingly difficult to win, and I'm curious about the difficulty curve of this game, especially for two reasons. One, it sucks to play a game over and over again and never win. Like, you want it to be a challenge, but you want it to be a challenge that you can overcome once in a while.
A surmountable
And
challenge.
also, yeah, maybe even with some variables involved. Like the original Pandemic, you could change the number of um, epidemic cards that were in the deck, and more would make the game more difficult. Also, if this is in any way, and I'm assuming it is given the current state of things, some kind of allegory encouraging people to be aware of climate change, then having a challenge, having a game that is challenging might inspire people to look at the mechanics and look at the things that are being referenced and say, okay, this is a thing that could actually happen, but we have a means of moving forward. Having a game that is nigh impossible to win is depressing as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta give
And
people hope.
Optimally,
you gotta have hope.
optimally in a game like that, you want to make it to where the better you work together as a team, the better your chances to win. The more you end up infighting, the less likely you are to win, because that
Yeah.
encourages the cooperative part of it.
It does,
Yeah.
and board games, most board games have the benefit that there's no timer. Like, you can play as late as you want. So if you want to debate what you're doing over one turn for half an hour, which has happened on occasion in Pandemic, you can do that.
No, I want to fly to Paris.
The real world is under more of a time crunch, realistically speaking. Also, there's a problem with a number of cooperative games, but it seems to happen often enough with Pandemic that I've heard it called the pandemic problem, which is whoever knows how to play that game the best, or who knows how to play that style of game the best, becomes the de facto leader, and there's a strong chance that, whether they intend to or not, that person will effectively run the whole game with the other players as proxies.
And that's
Yeah,
not always fun. Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it takes a certain level of social and emotional awareness for someone. I've been in that position because I have Pandemic, I have almost all the expansions, and so I know the game pretty well, and I have to be conscious about when I'm giving advice and when I'm telling somebody what to do, and when I need to pull back and let the other players just experience the game.
I personally run into that. I've run into that issue with Legendary before, with Marvel's Legendary.
Yeah,
because I played that game so many times, and it's a cooperative game, and I've played it so many times. I have to consciously be careful about how much I'm telling my teammates what they should do.
Yeah.
Oh, and
You know,
and then Greg, I mean, me and you, we've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for years. How many times do you get a veteran player that comes into a new table and just starts telling all the other newbies what to do because he's been doing this for a while, so they should just listen to him? You know, they still need to be able
And
to
not
play their
always-
character.
Yeah, and not always even in a malicious way. Sometimes it's just a person with a whole lot of personality, or who really wants to help, but they don't recognize that they are directing the players rather than assisting them.
Yeah, they think that their way is most efficient, so everybody should do it their way, regardless of what,
Yeah.
you know, and the other person might be playing according to, you know, just how it feels.
The other player might have no idea what they're doing, but unless they're allowed to make those mistakes on their own terms, they're not going to get better, and they're going to resent that other player, or possibly even the GM, for railroading them into playing the game a certain way.
Yeah, it could even, if they're new enough, it could even deter them from playing more.
Absolutely.
Well, especially if, like, for instance, there's someone who
Did I
doesn't
lose
have
you?
like a really strong personality, but they want to play their character in a certain way
Hello?
because they want to
Uh-oh.
play.
I can hear you, Lurch.
Is it me?
I can hear you, Lurch. Your video is froze. Okay, you're back.
Yeah,
Okay.
Your video froze
All
for
right,
a
yeah,
few
you guys are
seconds.
back now.
there's those
Okay, good.
people that come in. They might be relatively new, but they've got an idea of how they want to play their character.
Yeah.
And it's not the most optimum way, but they're doing that on purpose because they want to play the character.
Yeah.
They actually want to role play. And this other guy's like, no. The best way to do it is this. And they get just overwhelmed by the other person's personality. Their
Yeah.
personality is
There
just such that
There is nothing in the rules of 5e that prevent me from playing a wizard with 10 intelligence.
Oh, man. Oh, I mean, you're not wrong, but that's just not right.
Oh no, that could be a lot of fun. It's like I come from the era of D&D back when we had, you always made a character with at least one stat that was low because that brought it some personality.
Yeah,
There
but
were
10 intelligence on a wizard?
Well,
Oh,
you could
It hurts saving throw DCs, but that only matters if you're an offensive caster. So
so
mechanically, it doesn't even hurt that bad.
even in the older editions, you could technically play a wizard with a 9. It's just you didn't want to go anything below 9.
You
But,
couldn't in 3rd edition, but that's a whole
yeah,
another
that's
bag
another
of can of worms.
fish. Yeah.
I guess it's true. It's fair. I haven't played enough 5th edition to know how bad of a thing it is. I know in 3.5 that'd be pretty rough. Do we have a timeline for this game for Climate Crisis? Like when about it might release?
It's been in production since March 2020. Ironically, just around the time America started taking the pandemic seriously.
Did they talk about putting it on a Kickstarter?
Semi-seriously.
There's currently no confirmed release date, so probably later this year. If I had to guess,
you have to keep me updated on that because I loved Pandemic. I love Forbidden Island and Forbidden Forest or Forbidden Desert.
Yeah.
I mean.
Well, the Forbiddens are great games.
Yeah.
And we have Pandemic.
Yeah. So
yeah, those are good family-friendly co-op games.
Yeah.
I really enjoy those games. I really enjoy this Matt. What's his name? Matt Leacock.
Leacock.
I really enjoy several of the games like all the games you've mentioned that he worked on. I like a lot. So I expect that I'm going to also enjoy the Climate Crisis game that he makes.
So it's
and the premise sounds interesting too.
It's going to be something to watch, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well,
who knows if Gen Con happens this year, maybe they'll have more updates there. I'm hoping that Z-Man produces it because they also produce the Pandemic games, and they consistently put out good work, not just with Leacock, but with a lot of their product lines.
Z-Man
games.
That sounds like the DJ of a rock radio station.
This is the Z-Man coming at you live. Yes.
Yeah.
They also did Arabian Nights, kind of storytelling adventure game. They did. Oh, I just had it in my head. Terra Mystica. They produced Terra Mystica.
I love Terra Mystica. That's one of Allison's all-time favorite games.
I really want that, but I'm waiting for. I have heard that they're doing a reprint of Terra Mystica with a modular board, and I'm holding out for that.
Ooh, a reprint with a modular board is in the works.
It is okay.
You just got Allison excited. That's one of her favorite board games. Allison, you might think she's this nice, happy-go-lucky person, but she's cutthroat when you put her around a board game table. And she loves games like Terra Mystica. Oh my God, does she love Terra Mystica. That and freaking Dominion. She just is. Anytime she can sink her teeth into the other player, she's all about it, man.
I do enjoy a good game of Dominion.
I'm an Ascension player more myself when it comes to deck builders. Ascension is probably my favorite, but I like Dominion too. I like Clank. Clank is a lot of fun.
Anyway,
Um,
What do we got next?
okay. All right. Before we get into the TV and movie stuff with the in more detail, I'm going to do a quick little segment I'm going to start doing every week um, called basically related to my RPG college. I do at game. If you've been to the live game sessions, I have a table there called the RPG College, where I basically do instructional work, teach you how to play, how to DM, run DM roundtable panels, things like that. And what we're going to do is just spend 10 or 15 minutes every week just talking about building your own campaign world, which is a big part of being a game designer and a world builder and an author. See, a lot of this stuff directly translates to being an author. You may not even want to be necessarily running a game. You might be writing your book or building your storyboard for your comic book or the backstory of a video game. And again, you're still going to go into world building. And so we're going to spend a few minutes on world building every week. And Greg, I know for sure, can help me out with this too, because just like me, we're longtime role players. He plays a lot of the more exotic games from other countries and stuff too. Um, Now, first of all, this week we're just going to talk about real quick the two main approaches there are to world building, and basically there's all kinds of variations that end up being mixes and matches of these two approaches. Um, when you go to sit down to create your world, first you got to decide what viewpoint you're going to take, and that's where these two approaches come in. First is what they call the macro view, which means an overall view. You start big and you work down to the small. So you would start at the world or continent level and then slowly focus it down to the individual cities, encounters, dungeons, what have you. But you start big. You might even start like building your god system for your world, something great and big. And then next, worry about a big world backstory with multiple continents and different racial origins. That's what you call the macro view. And a lot of authors have to do that because they need a lot of detail in the book. Um, so that's one approach. Now the trouble is with that approach is it's a heck of a long time till you get to that first gaming session if you start with that macro view, because you're building all of this infrastructure, and it's great. The infrastructure is great. It's there. You can answer the questions your players are going to throw at you from nowhere. Oh, who's your god of crafting? Oh, well, it's such and such. You've got that answer ready to go because you've started at the macro view. But it's not always optimal. It always depends on you as the writer slash DM, what works best for you. So the other option that we do for these kind of things is the micro view. And in the micro view of things, hold on, I blanked out you guys' cameras when I switched that over. Okay. In the micro view of things, you start at the small individual level and work outward. What's great about this particular method is you're not giving yourself a big hunk of something to chew on. You're making it in small bite-sized pieces. Among other things, the biggest advantage to this approach is because you're starting at the micro level, which could be as small as the local tribe, city, even the encounter that you've got planned for the next adventure, is you can immediately start playing with this method. I mean, as soon as you're done building the encounter, you can start playing. And while they're playing through the encounter, you can work your way outward to the next encounter and to the next one and take those loosely strung together encounters and eventually build a macro view from your micro view, your puzzle pieces. So instead of working on the entire puzzle, you're working one piece at a time. And those are the two major approaches. Do you have anything more to say about that, Greg?
Yeah, I between the two, there's no wrong answer. It depends on what kind of story you want to tell, and some people just create worlds for their own edification. They just want to make something. If I was making something specifically for a player group, I would definitely be inclined to go the micro route. One, because obviously it's, as you alluded to, it's more manageable. You can start with a single town or a single encounter and build from there. Also, if you want your players to care about the world, they need to have something to invest in. You can drop a map and a 50-page essay about why your world is awesome, but unless they can relate that to their own character and their experience and their mechanics, they might enjoy it, but it's not going to engage them as players. Having a micro perspective and explaining to the players how to incorporate their characters into that, you'll get a lot more group cohesion and individual engagement right off the bat.
Exactly. That's one of the big strengths to the microview. Plus, like for instance, say you have a party of classic Tolkien-esque characters. So you got elves and dwarves and gnomes. Um, you don't have a lot of the exotics like dragonborns or tieflings. In the micro view, you don't even have to worry about necessarily plugging their culture in yet. But if a new
Yeah,
player,
there's the
a new,
burden of putting all those details in and front loading all that information is also relieved from the GM. You're just trying to run a game. You don't need the players asking you about the entire lineage of uh every elf monarch from here back 8 centuries, unless that's somehow relevant to their character or to the scenario in question.
right, like said, if you don't have a dwarf in your party, you don't even have to do anything more than saying the dwarves live to the north. That's it.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything else, and we all know if you head northward, you might start to see more dwarves.
Heck, there's
But
there's whole
Or from the
games
north.
there's whole games around just building campaign settings. There's a single player game called oh, what was it called? Shut Up and Sit Down did a review of it. Not Misspent Youth.
role player? No, no.
No, I'll something the Quiet Year. I think it's the Quiet Year.
Oh
Let me see.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the one. There's also a two-player game that I've played with other people a few times called Steps of the Prophet. It uses a standard poker deck, and you lay down cards. One player is the builder, and they establish facts about the world, and the other player is the prophet, and they kind of react to and interpret those facts in a cultural context. And after an hour, you have a society. It could be a planet. It could be a a village. It could be a country. It could be whatever you want to. But you'll have a pretty well fleshed out social structure with its own culture by the end of it.
And you could link this to some old computer games like Civilization, which did that kind of stuff. You'd start by building your civilization and then build it out and out and out until suddenly you had a simulated world with several ages going through from the beginning of your race all the way to the end. Um, some of the Sims were similar to that too. But yeah, the whole point is the micro view is the easy to manage view. That's for the person who wants to start playing sooner. That's the one who wants to get their players more involved with the world creation. Because if a player comes in and he's one of the races you haven't fleshed out yet, incorporate that player in helping you flesh out that race. What was the name of your capital city where you came from? Don't I don't need to tell you. You tell me. You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Put some of that on the player. Definitely.
yeah, put some of it on the player and let the player help you build your backstory, and then they feel invested. So their world comes alive behind their character in that micro view. Now, that's not to say, like you said, there's no wrong answer. The macro view is right for some things. A lot of times when you're writing a book or doing something like getting ready to publish a campaign world, you want to go into the macro view a little bit more. If you want to study things like God interactions and geopolitical situations, you want to do a large geopolitical type of campaign, you might want to look at the macro view instead of the micro view because that's where your plots are coming from. But if you're starting with a group of people that mainly just want to go kill kobolds for a little while, why do you need to detail the Dragon Kingdom that they're not going to go to for 16 more levels?
Even if you want to have those big epic plots, you don't necessarily have to have all that stuff written down in stone from the beginning. If your setting is one community and you want to have an encounter where the community is deciding whether to invest more of its resources into developing its agriculture or developing its defense, which is very common in a medieval setting, then right there you've got political intrigue and you've got an opportunity to play one side or the other or play both sides against the middle.
Right?
Without having to define the empire and the agriculturalists or whatever you want to call them.
Right, that's the whole thing. The whole geopolitical thing behind everything is mutable and stuff. That's one of the advantages to the micro view is that you can do a lot of correcting on the fly, making changes as you go along, and stuff. That you can to an extent do it, but you can't always do it with the macro view. The macro view, though, gives you a good framework to talk about so that if somebody gives you a question out of the blue, you don't necessarily have to pull the answer out of the seat of your pants. So that's the thing there. Yep. Hold on, I'm trying to bring up a picture for our next set of subjects. Mm,
And in my experience, the campaigns I've run, the ones that went over best tended to start local and then expand outward again as the players started developing a greater interest in the world outside their backyard, usually by establishing relationships with NPCs in high places.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing is so basically, although like we did say there is no wrong answer, no right
Yeah.
answer, we will say there is an easy answer, and the easy answer is usually the micro view. uh, just
And as a
because
GM, easy is anytime you can go easy without sacrificing quality, you go easy.
yeah, no, absolutely, because you want to give your player the best experience you possibly can, and they can't always you know understand how much work you're putting in the background. So this way, you actually are doing it in such a way to where they can experience it as you go along, and they can, like I said before, they can interactively work with you. Okay, well, we're going to go ahead now and go on to the meat and potatoes of our show, which is, of course, we seem to spend a large portion of every show on it, and that is, of course, the various TV and movies that we're dealing with in
Yeah.
let's see here.
We
Hold on.
remember the spoiler stuff should be the last subject. So
Right.
like
We're not going to do.
we can talk a little bit about Godzilla since we're not doing any spoilers yet.
I'll be
Yeah.
right back.
If you had anything more to say on that,
Yeah. But I got a picture up right now for the Arrowverse, but we can
okay,
talk about various things. We don't have to have individual pictures since we're not
yeah,
showing you anything. Of course, the big epic event, the true clash of the Titans, was today, March 31st, 2021, when the real Titans, the Titans that have been around since the early days, Godzilla and King Kong, come to battle, and they are ready to rumble, let me tell you. Now, a little bit of background information for those of you who aren't as old as dirt like I am. I've been watching kaiju movies pretty much my entire life. My nickname was even Godzilla for a while before it was ever Doc. And of course, the king of monsters has been and always will be, in my opinion, Godzilla. But King Kong, the big ape, has got his place too, as Fay Ray would definitely tell you in the classic movies. Well, King Kong was owned by MGM as an American property, where Godzilla was part of the Japanese kaiju film franchises and only imported into the U.S. So when they came about, they wanted to make the big matchup between Godzilla and King Kong. Both studios wanted their Titan to win the contest. So much so that they came to a loggerhead and they had to make two movies back in the day. So back in the 60s, 70s, when they made King Kong versus Godzilla and Godzilla versus King Kong, they made those both movies because in each one, the studio who really sponsored that movie got their guy to win. And so, generally speaking, the rule of thumb was the first name listed was going to be the winner of the contest, was the pattern. So, but we don't know going into this one how it's going to be because they're only making one movie. And they're now both being produced by an American production company in tandem with a Japanese production company. So there's a lot changed in Hollywood since that happened. But you took two of the most classic kaiju icons and sent them against each other. And this is coming from a world where Godzilla has fought things like King Ghidorah and Rodan and Mothra, massive creatures of absolute world-ending destruction. And Godzilla has come up and fought uh, dinosaurs and pterodactyl and things of that nature, as well as both have fought the entire military strength of whole countries. And it's usually the military strength of the countries that comes in the losing side of that battle.
yeah.
Yeah.
No matter who
Yeah,
wins, the military loses.
that's right. Because you don't mess with Godzilla and you don't mess with King Kong, which is what makes it such an epic battle. Because, as they say, one of the things, and you get this in one of the previews, so I'm not really giving you a spoiler here. The one professor the girl that studies Kong, says Kong bows to no one. And
Yeah,
that's true. Kong doesn't bow to anybody. But guess what? Neither does Godzilla. There's a reason he's called Godzilla. He is the king of the monsters. And so it is such an epic thing. It's East meets West at the truest form. In fact, it personifies the whole East meets West cultural dichotomy in film and movies and stuff. Godzilla represents everything that the Asian influenced kaiju culture had to offer. Everything's bigger, badder, nuclear. You know, where
yeah,
Kong was just a giant, oversized, brute muscle ape. He didn't have any laser eyes or breath weapon or anything. I don't think I'm spoiling it too much to say he does get a hatchet in this kind of thing. It looks like a giant tomahawk, but I don't think that's too much of a spoiler. I think it's even in a couple of the promotional pictures. But that's just our image of these kaiju things, and kaiju has become its own subcultural genre of film. And as we can tell you, we got a lot of friends that are into the kaiju movement.
Yeah.
There's even an anime series on Netflix, I think, based on Pacific Rim. That was pretty good.
There's a new Pacific Rim anime, and Pacific Rim, if you're not counting the remakes of Godzilla and Kong, Pacific Rim is really the new era kaiju movies. They personified kaiju so well in Pacific Rim that it was just, for fans of the original kaiju movies, we were like chomping at the bit when Pacific Rim came out. Not to mention it had some of our favorite actors in it, like Ron Perlman. But you pretty much can't go wrong in a nerd movie if you put Ron Perlman in there somewhere. But yeah, so I don't want to talk too much more because I don't want to give any spoilers. And I did see the movie, and they're right at the tip of my tongue. I keep stopping myself from saying anything spoiler-like. But so, if you got a chance, if you have HBO Max, definitely take 2 hours out of your day and experience this phenomenon. If you have more time than that, go and watch the remake of Godzilla and King of the Monsters and Kong and Skull Island, and do all your homework, and then do it, and you will not regret it. It'll be a full day full of kaiju fun. Your popcorn budget might go through the roof, but it's popcorn and milk duds. There you go.
Speaking of kaiju, this might sound a little weird at first, but they just put out a new trailer for not a kaiju movie, but it has a kaiju in it. The new Suicide Squad movie made by James Gunn.
I was going to point that out too. Yes.
And there's a moment in the trailer where, near the end of the trailer, where this guy's like, "We got a kaiju up in this bitch," and it's oh god, his name's slipping my tongue right now. The giant purple starfish.
Starro?
Starro, yeah, Starro. Man. Like, I had it a few minutes ago, and then it just slipped my mind as I needed to say it.
I didn't see that in the trailer I watched. I didn't see that.
Yeah, he shows up near the end of the trailer, and he's huge and stomping on cars. And the guy's, like, yelling at Amanda Waller, it looks like, going, "We got a kaiju up in this bitch," over, like, the radio to the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and speaking of the Suicide Squad, which is a great segue, talk about a phenomenal cast. Peter Davidson from Saturday Night Live is going to be in there. Nathan Fillion is going to be in there.
Do you know if they're going to have the same person playing Waller? Because I thought she was excellent.
Yes. Amanda Waller is the same person as before. Margot Robbie is still playing Harley Quinn. Same person is playing Flag. Same person playing Captain Boomerang. Idris Elba is joining the cast. They've got what's his name? The last male doctor. I just lost his name. Played the older doctor.
That guy.
Peter Capaldi. Yes, Peter Capaldi is in it. Nathan Fillion is playing.
Peter Capaldi's the guy with the things on his head, right?
Yeah, he's the mastermind.
Harley Quinn's yelling at him.
Yes.
You got a personalized license plate. Boom, you're dead.
Yeah. Yes. And that's Capaldi. and stuff. So
Oh,
there's so many great actors in this film, you know, and it's amazing. Nathan Fillion's playing arms rip off guy, the guy that can his arms fall off guy is that it's Nathan Fillion is playing.
wait,
The his
Nathan
ability,
Fillion is.
yes, he's playing a character who can basically rip his own arm off and use it as a club.
I don't remember him in the trailer.
Yep, he's in it. John Cena's in it. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
John
so many.
Cena. John Cena is so funny in that fucking trailer.
He is.
Oh my god.
Well, he's meant to be like a spoofy version of Captain America, and he's pulling it off really well.
Yeah, right. He's like, I love that part where he's like, if some madman covered the entire island in dicks, and I was told that I had to eat every dick to save liberty, I'd do it. He's
Yeah,
like, I'd do it without a hesitation.
I'm eating dicks.
I'd eat all those dicks. And then there's a woman in the trailer.
About dicks?
There's a woman in the trailer who's like, why would someone cover the island in penises? And John Cena's like, he's like, who knows why madmen do what they do?
It's catching all the comedic stylings that Gunn is really, really good at.
Yeah.
You know, because Gunn, of course, and this is the thing this is the movie that Gunn, when he got ostracized by Marvel after Guardians of the Galaxy 2, this is the project he went and jumped onto. And then, of course, they had to bring him back for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because, among other things, Pratt and Batista pretty much said they wouldn't do it if it wasn't with Gunn.
Yeah.
So they had to bring him back. So he went and left Marvel to go to DC, to go back to Marvel, and basically handling some of the best super team comedic stuff that you could probably. This is comic gold. And then he has people like Saturday Night Live veteran Peter Davidson and Nathan Fillion in there. These are people that know comedy.
Is Peter Davidson the guy that's playing as the Spot character?
Peter Davidson is not Polka Dot Man. Peter Davidson is
apparently he was on Doctor Who.
Peter Davidson? No, Peter Capaldi.
Peter Davidson or Pete Davidson? Peter Davidson, I guess.
King of Staten Island.
No, it's King of Staten Island's what he's from.
I think he's done a few other.
Is it Peter Davidson or Tommy Davidson?
No, Peter Davidson.
There's two different Peter Davidsons that are actors.
He was engaged.
This is the one that's a Saturday Night Live guy.
Yeah.
The Ariana Grande for a while.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
He was engaged to Ariana Grande.
And this one's actually Pete Davidson.
Pete Davidson.
Not Peter.
Yeah, because Peter Capaldi, that's the one from Doctor Who.
There's in a Google search, I found there is a Peter Davidson who's an actor, in a British actor who apparently has been in Doctor Who. I don't know what role he played, but So, but there's a Pete Davidson that is in. That's not the same guy. They're like decades apart in age, and I recognize him from the Staten Island movie.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, he definitely is
Live.
Yeah, he's definitely an SNL guy, kind of guy. And okay, so that makes sense.
Right, but that's coming out.
Who's the character?
Go ahead.
It's got Sylvester Stallone in it too. I don't know if you caught it.
Yeah, there's supposed to be.
He's the shark.
And Rooker is there.
Michael Rooker.
Mm-hmm.
Yondu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yondu is there.
No, you mean he played Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins, y'all.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to him.
Great actor, yeah.
Yeah. The Polka Dot Man, I love that moment where Idris Elba is like Amanda Waller in the trailer is like giving everyone a quick little speech or whatever, and then asks if anyone has questions. And Sylvester Stallone's character, who he's doing the voice of the shark, of the
Hand.
the human shark guy, and he points at his hand, going
Hand.
hand. And Amanda Waller's like, yes, that is your hand. And Idris Elba's like, oh my god, we're all gonna die. And then the polka dot man is like, I sure hope so.
Yeah,
He's
or
just like, oh man, that
when
the trailer looks amazing.
they go to rescue Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and shows up and says, "What you guys doing? Oh, we were coming to rescue you and stuff, and we were going to do all this. Oh, you want me to go back in there? I'll let you do it."
Yeah. We were coming to rescue you. You're going to rescue me? Yeah, this is a really good plan. Well, I could go back inside and let you do the plan. Well, that's just patronizing.
I love Margot Robbie. She's a perfect choice for Harley Quinn.
Yeah. And like the Peter Capaldi scene, it still cracks me up because like everyone else is being serious. So, like, it's like, you don't follow our rules, you die. You tried to escape, you die. Harley comes up. You have a personalized license plate, you die.
You die.
No, that's not how it is. You cough without covering your mouth, you die.
You die.
No, he doesn't. Although that is not an open
seriously,
invitation to cough without you covering your mouth. Seriously.
Like I said, the chances for comedy in this are staggering.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's movies. The next big movie releases that we got coming out are Black Widow. That'll be coming out soon. And they're working on a couple other DC releases, but we haven't really got dates for most of them real close yet.
They did announce that, I mentioned earlier, the Star Wars The Bad Batch just got announced its release date I think it was in May, like May 4th, I think is its first episode on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah, also,
and they put out a trailer for it. It's like a group of clones from the Clone Wars days. It's being made by the same people who made the Clone Wars.
Oh, and
the print. What's that?
I was going to say, and Star Wars Rogue Squadron, the movie, is supposed to be in the works with the same producer director that did Wonder Woman.
Patty Jenkins?
Yeah, the girl that did Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah. I think I read about that before.
So she's doing Rogue Squadron, so that's going to be pretty amazing too.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're off to TV now. Okay, I know I was a little lackluster last week, and and you guys can understand why if you watch the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was a little slow, a little dry, a little hard to get into. I said I would give it at least 3 episodes of the 9 before I gave up on it completely. I will say the second episode did a lot to redeem it. I think they did some more in the second episode. It was actually more action, and you actually got to see Bucky and Sam together, and you got to see them interact with U.S. Agent.
The Bucky and Falcon, Bucky and Sam's interactions with each other is the highlight of the show.
It is, and the fact that they didn't have much of that at all in the first episode, I think was part of what was lacking from it. But once you came in, and the second episode started right off the bat with some pulse pounding fun, so it's looking better now. Like I said, it just had a slow start, which happens. Sometimes they spend an episode building up, and that's why I said I would give it 3. But I think it's already redeemed itself at 2. But we'll see how it progresses. I'm definitely going to keep my ear to the wire and try to make sure we catch all the Easter eggs and stuff that they hide in the shows. We did notice we got to meet more and interact more with U.S. Agent, and we got to meet his wingman, quote intended, pun intended, because Captain had his own real wingman with wing. Well, Captain America had his wingman in the Falcon with actual wings.
Yeah.
This guy's not that, but I like how Stan says, I better not see nobody else flying around with that.
Right.
But
I have to say something about the Sam Wilson's outfit in this show. Even though the first episode didn't win me over with the first episode, the outfit that Sam was wearing in the first episode was spectacular. His new the new like red wings and everything. And I'm not just talking about the red wing little robot on his back, but his actual wings look
I still
legit.
I still like Black Widow's response to Red. It says, I ain't talking to that thing. No, say
Yeah.
hi. His name's Red Wing.
But it's amazing how much a little paint job can improve something, you know?
Yeah, sometimes it's just a simple matter of the color scheme that can make
Yeah.
something so much different. I mean, how many jokes did we had to suffer through when they started talking about bringing out the X-Men movie and the freaking original bright yellow X-Men costumes?
Yeah.
And then they ended up
Hey,
making it leather and looking cool.
They
We
made it a
still-
joke in the first X-Men movie.
yeah, I still want to see the red or the yellow Wolverine outfit in the movie.
Right?
I feel cheated that we never got to see Hugh Jackman in that outfit.
Who knows?
They can make a movie version that would look good.
Well, there's still talk about him maybe doing a cameo at some point with Deadpool. So who knows?
They teased it in one of the movies. They had one of the movies where he like opened up a crate that had the helmet and gloves of the yellow outfit, but then it never paid off anywhere.
Yeah, but there's no way of knowing for absolute sure.
A lot of the Silver Age comic book hero costumes were ridiculous. Like, I'm glad they never tried to make Hawkeye look the way he did in the old comic books. The purple,
the bright purple with the red
base-
freaking winged mask
bright purple, basically circus performer outfits.
with the big red winged mask that just like swoop it. Yeah, that was a bit much. But anyway, now going on to TV series. Okay, for those of you who have been watching the Arrowverse,
I don't know if you can't hear it, but you got a buzz. Buzz.
Buzz.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Oh yeah, right. You're using my snowball mic, not my headset mic. I muted. The buzzer is going off on the oven, and apparently my girlfriend isn't hearing it.
Yeah, ours just
We yell
went off,
buzz
too.
buzz to tell the other one that the oven's going off.
But anyway, on to the Arrowverse. First off, and this is an expected delay, Superman and Lois is on hiatus till May. Like I said, this is a known thing that we knew was going to happen, so no big deal. They just, a lot of it was caused by coronavirus, interrupting shooting and things. But that's okay. It gives people a chance to catch up if they're a little behind. It's getting intense in Smallville, and so it's really worth taking a moment to catch up on the episodes. As far as the Flash goes, and there's going to be some spoilers here. Like I said last week, Abracadabra showed up, and at the very end of the episode, there's this big, like, Hulk-looking girl showed up too, but she can't be called She-Hulk, obviously.
That's the last episode. That's the last that I saw was the Abracadabra episode, ending with that big creature showing up out of nowhere and just manhandling Flash like he was a toy, like he was a doll.
Looks like some kind of weird science experiment between the She-Hulk and the actual Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit more bestial than Jennifer, the actual She-Hulk, but more female than Bruce Banner as the Hulk. She was like some like freaking female cave woman kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
But she like absorbed Flash's lightning like it's nothing.
She also absorbed a antimatter bomb like it was nothing.
Yeah, and so they opened this week talking about that, but then that character doesn't really show up this week's episode, which you'd expect that to have been the main character because it was introduced at the very end of last episode. But instead, they introduced somebody who Vibe named Psych. He has the ability to influence and trigger the fear impulses in people's brains.
Mm.
I don't want to spoil it too much, but I will say that it is directly linked.
That episode just dropped a few hours ago. On really,
Yeah, well, I mean, hours and hours ago now, but because I was watching it early this morning and it dropped.
Yeah,
I think at like 2 a.m. it dropped on the CW. At the time, though, I was watching Supergirl, I think, because I watched that first. But Psych. Now, I will say that key to defeating Psych is Cecile and her psychic abilities. I won't say how. You'll have to watch. There's a complication with Frost that would be interesting to see. You're going to want to definitely check that out too.
Yeah, they did show at the very end of last week's episode the complication of Frost, where they like split up into two.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they get introduced in the very beginning of this episode with that, and they kind of explain part of how it probably happened.
Yeah.
And then I will say that at one point in the show, Cisco's working on the Firestorm Matrix to modify it to use it to try to recombine them together again, just like he used to combine them to make the other two to make Firestorm.
Yeah,
because the Firestorm Matrix is the closest thing they have to being able to combine two people into one. So
yeah.
So it makes perfect sense that that's their kind of go-to.
It kind of surprises me that they would be so quick to want to jump back into the same body.
Well, yes and no, and they do explain some of that, and that's actually that's a big part of the episode this week, so I don't want to go too far into it.
Yeah.
But needless to say, Frost likes kind of having her own body. Where Caitlin, on the other hand, kind of feels really alone not having Frost's voice in her head anymore. So that's the thing. They do bring a couple other pieces of old technology in too, because of course since Psych is affecting people mentally, they do bring in the mental dampeners they used against Gorilla Grodd, and there's that one chair that the evil villain used to enhance his psychic powers. It's brought into the show too. I won't say how either one of them is used or whether or not they're effective, but those are all elements that we'll end up dealing with. Oh, and there's a personification of the Speed Force that shows up.
Oh.
Yeah, so and the Speed Force is like sick and dying, which has got Barry majorly worried.
Yeah.
So
back to that.
There's always a lot going on with and as it is, he is the what is he, the icon of a heart. He's the
Paragon of Heart.
Paragon of Heart. So that's Barry all over. He worries more about everybody else than himself all the time, and I think Grant Gustin just totally personifies the part so well. Not to say that what's his name from the movies, Ezra
Miller.
Ezra Miller is not a great Flash, because he's got that childlike glee that the Flash has. Ezra Miller's got that childlike glee that when he smiles all goofy, he's like, I don't have friends. He's like, oh my god, that's Flash from the comic books. But But when it comes to being a paragon of heart, I don't think Ezra could do it as well as Grant Gustin does. Grant Gustin has really got that down, which is pretty interesting since the thing that you saw Grant Gustin in before The Flash, he was kind of a villain from Glee.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I got to deal with this buzzing oven.
No problem.
Continue on.
We're going to move on to, let's see. Okay, Batwoman. In the last episode I watched of Batwoman, we did confirm that Kate is dead. Now she's not captured or anything. They got rid of any doubt that Kate is dead now. But of course, it being comic books, there's always a chance to bring people back. If nothing else, there's a Lazarus pit somewhere to bring people back. But they did confirm, and then you missed this part, Lurch. In Batwoman, in the last episode from last week, they did finally confirm that Kate's dead.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they got rid of the fact she's not captured or anything like that. Now, in true comic book fashion, there's always a chance she can come back for some reason. You know.
Yeah.
Because there's always enough doubt. Plus, like I said just before you came back, if nothing else, there's a Lazarus pit somewhere. Yes. So, comic books specialize in bringing people back from the dead.
Yeah. Unless your name's Ben Parker.
That's right. The only person they never bring back is Ben Parker. Poor Peter.
And the original Captain Marvel.
Yep. But so that's a big part of it as they finish rounding out that whole storyline in Batwoman. Like I said, I haven't seen this week's episode because I think it's dropping today, which means I'll be able to see it tomorrow. Something like that. I'll see it today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow because I'm going to be playing Fractured in a bit. But that's that. Now, the biggest thing for the Arrowverse was, of course, the season opener for the new season of Supergirl.
Yeah, I watched that last night just before I went to bed.
Yeah, and that's a big one because, of course, if you remember when we last left Supergirl, Brainy had realized that he had just done the wrong thing by backing Lex, even though he was told he needed to do it to preserve lives. So Brainy was left in that one room dying of radiation poisoning.
He was left in the ship of the Leviathan.
Right. And everybody was out. They had to try to save Brainy. Lex Luthor has gained powers, which you find out at the very beginning of this episode. You see him do some telekinetic Darth Vader shit.
He was manipulating rocks. He took the powers of the Leviathan.
Yep.
That's what he did.
Yeah, which makes him pretty godlike.
Yeah.
And so he's ready to take on Supergirl. And of course, we also get confirmation that he used Lena's program in the basically their Matrix, whatever it's called.
Oasis, I think is what they called it.
Oasis or something like that. It's basically the Matrix, but
the Matrix only you log in via contact lenses instead of a needle in the back of your brain.
That's right. But they went and he put a side program that basically makes everybody who had logged in there automatically agree with and kind of semi-worship him.
Yeah. I Love Lex, I believe was the name of the sub-protocol.
Yeah, the I Love Lex protocol. And then he's launched a bunch of satellites that once they're in position, they will kill anybody who wasn't in the Matrix and didn't get that protocol unless they're on the protected list like his mother. And we only assume that his mother's actually protected. We know Lex. It's not a guarantee.
Yeah, he could have been lying. Well, actually, no, we know that because whenever it went off, she didn't get a headache like the victims did. So she was protected.
No, the only people that got the headache were the people that had been in the Matrix. His mother hadn't been in the Matrix.
No,
Oh,
the
maybe
people who were affected were the people who were being hurt, the people who were getting the headaches that were going to die from it, were the people that had never been inside of it and didn't get the I Love Lex protocol. So, I don't remember if Supergirl was affected, but she would, resilient anyway. So yeah, it was an interesting premiere episode. There was a lot that happened in that one episode.
Yep. Including at the very end when Lena went back, finally learned to, fully recognize the error of her ways, no longer blamed Supergirl for keeping her identity secret, and went so far as to erase her secret identity from her mother and Lex.
Yeah, that was nice. And then she was honest about doing that. She came back and just straight up told, I think it was Jean and Megan about it. Like, I did use it one more time to remove, his memories of Kara's identity.
And the name of it is not Oasis, it's Myriad.
Myriad. What's Oasis then? I'm getting that confused with something else.
Oasis is from Ready Player One.
You know what? You are completely right. That's where I got it from. Same premise.
Yeah, it's Oasis, The Matrix, Myriad. They're all, different names for the same thing.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had their own version as well.
Yep, they sure did. Yeah, it's a popular subplot.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on with Supergirl.
Yeah. Titans, Lex Luthor becoming a god, also having the I Love Lex protocol. Man, he was kind of hitting everything on all fronts, wasn't he?
Indeed.
John Cryer, I have to say, John Cryer might be my favorite Lex Luthor.
And it's surprising because you never would expect John Cryer to be Lex Luthor.
Yeah, when I first learned he was cast, I was like, meh, But after seeing him in action,
I was thinking, he's going to be a little bit too silly to be Lex Luthor. But then he's actually doing a great job.
Yeah, I think he might be my favorite. Like, Michael Rosenbaum been my favorite for a really long time, but I think John Cryer is now taking that role, that
Jesse Eisenberg did a good job too. But
yeah, I think he did a good job, but that is a very debated subject because a lot of people think he did a terrible job. I think he did a good job.
Well, part of it is,
but it's a very specific kind of Lex. Huh?
People took a lot of their anti-sentiment of the movie and took it out on certain characters, like Eisenberg, because they were against Ben Affleck being Batman, so they took it out on all the rest of the characters in their mind before they ever even watched the movie.
Yeah. So I liked him, but he didn't top Michael Rosenbaum for me.
Right.
I think John Cryer has.
Yeah, and
he is a scary Lex. He's got that arrogant asshole
that's
air
the
about
thing
him.
That's the telling thing. Lex is not powerful in and of himself. He's not physically imposing. I mean, he's old Chrome Dome, as they used to call him, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But it's his scary intellect that's spooky.
Yeah.
And John Cryer's pulling that off, and as did Rosenbaum.
Yeah.
And they both do it in different ways.
Yeah. Rosenbaum was definitely that pissed off best friend that feels betrayed and coming after you. John Cryer feels, however, like a sociopath.
He's a sociopathic megalomaniac.
Yeah. And it's kind of terrifying.
If you
I never really liked the what was it? Gene Hackman's performance of Lex. I never cared for Gene Hackman's
I was about
performance.
to say though, if you mix the two of them together and had a lot more like silliness, you get Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily a good combination.
It's the silliness. I never felt like Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor was a frightening man. He was just a guy
He was
that
the
happened to
wrong
be around.
Superman was the wrong superhero to pit Gene Hackman against.
Yeah.
Well, and he had that one lackey with him all the time. Who played his number 2? I forget his name.
Oh, Ned Beatty.
Ned Beatty, yeah. If there was any attempt to make Lex serious in those movies, it was undercut by Ned Beatty. Not in a bad way, but that just wasn't what they were going for.
Otis made it too comedic.
Yeah. So, like, I'll always appreciate those movies for what they were, and I still like those movies. I grew up with those movies, but that Lex Luthor. I mean, in the second movie, he did a little bit better, but he was still so hacky.
Margot Kidder will always go down as one of the best Lois Lanes ever.
Margot, she did great. Margot Kidder she did great. Chris Reeves was great. But I know Gene Hackman's a good actor. I've seen him do great work in other things. So I'm not blaming Gene Hackman for it. It was a directorial choice, I believe.
And the writing,
and the director in the writing is a writing choice, and so they had a specific way they wrote him, and they wanted it performed, and I just didn't agree with that. Other than that aspect, I do like those movies quite a bit. I just didn't like the Lex Luthor of those movies. And that's my main complaint about those
and like Greg
originals.
Said, a big part of the downside of Lex in that wasn't even Lex; it was Otis.
Yeah.
His lackey.
Oh God. Yeah.
Ned Beatty.
Cool.
And what's funny is Ned Beatty's the longest, biggest veteran actor of the whole movie.
Kevin Spacey was actually good Lex Luthor. It wasn't the best Superman movie, but he was a great Lex Luthor.
I did like him.
Yeah. Anyway, we're kind of getting a little off topic, aren't we? But just kind of
okay.
The new Supergirl episode, the season premiere Supergirl episode was really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
It was phenomenal.
I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give away too much more about it though, because it did just come out today, and I don't want to be all super spoiler about today's stuff. I'd like to have things have a couple of days for people to get to watch them. But it finished out the story from last season I think they were intending on ending the season. I'm sure they were intending on ending the story for the finale of the last episode. So this episode really felt like the finale of last season. It's just I don't think they were able to finish making it because of the pandemic stuff.
Yeah,
because that's where it really feels like it fit. But they finished that out and then ended on a good, interesting cliffhanger about where the season's going to go from here.
And it's a great opener for what they've already acknowledged is going to be the last season of Supergirl.
The last season. Yeah, this is the final season of Supergirl.
Which they have yet to say about Flash. Which is funny because Flash has been around longer. But, Arrow was first, and Arrow is retired now. Flash is the one you would expect to retire next. But Flash is still the most popular of all of them.
It could be part of that. It could be part of them having ideas left for the characters, you know. They might, you know, and then Supergirl and Superman coming out in the same time frame might be a little bit odd for them, you know. So they might be canceling Supergirl to make more room for Superman, although they've been completely different shows. Right?
Right.
Superman and Lois, it's been a completely different show than Supergirl. So even though they're both about Kryptonians, they're otherwise because Superman and Lois is mostly a family drama. You know what I mean?
Family
It's
drama
got
with
you know
superpowers.
it's drama of Superman as a parent with teenage sons and struggling with that challenge while maintaining his job as Superman. That's what Superman and Lois is all about,
Yeah, in
and
some ways
Lois too.
it reminds me of the old No Ordinary Family TV show. Did you ever see
And
that?
I don't think I did. I don't think I saw that show. I don't. The name isn't ringing a bell.
It had starred what's his name that played Ben Grimm in the really good version of the Fantastic Four. Um, and
I know who you're talking about.
and it had
I know the actor you're talking about, the big bald guy.
yeah, and it had Darla from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I didn't watch that.
Oh, it had. She was also the Dexter's girlfriend in Dexter.
Jennifer Carpenter.
No, that's his sister.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. That's his sister. In real life, that's his wife.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think.
I can't remember the actress's name, but anyway, they
Yeah.
were a family, and everybody in the family had superpowers, and they were trying to live a normal family life. But the dad kept wanting to like fight crime.
Like The Incredibles.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. It's like a live action The Incredibles.
Hmm.
That's another thing that Superman and Lois kind of reminds me of is The Incredibles.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to live a regular life, but the superhero world gets in the way.
Yeah. So Superman and Lois. This I wasn't sure how I felt about this like teenage drama with the teenagers, but it's been a solid show. It's not been what I was expecting it to be.
It has. And the
but
two
it's been
kids
good.
are solid characters.
Huh?
The two kids are solid characters and they're not cardboard cutouts.
Yeah. I mean, they're basically the main characters, really. The title is Superman and Lois, but the show probably should be called Jonathan and Jordan Kent.
Yeah.
Because they're the main characters.
The Kent twins. Yeah,
yeah, the Kent twins. One has powers Kent. And the other does not.
Or the brothers Kent.
The brothers Kent. Yeah, like the brothers Grimm. That's not bad. They have this whole thing going on right now in that show with people getting Kryptonian-like powers from the town. They're like being experimented on by what looks like yellow kryptonite of some kind, or orange.
Gold kryptonite, maybe?
I don't think it's gold.
But it's one of the other colored kryptonites that gives powers.
Yeah. Gold takes powers away permanently. I think it's a kind of a yellowish, goldish, or yellowish orange kind of mix. It's only been shown briefly, and it hasn't been. So we haven't seen much of it, but it's causing people to like shake kind of uncontrollably, but then give them super strength and speed and flight and heat vision.
Mm-hmm.
So regular people are getting Kryptonian powers. And then also, there's the Lex Luthor of that show is in love with Lois Lane because in his Earth, he was married to Lois Lane. And he's talking about how, she's exactly the same in this world as she was on his world. The only difference is she married a different guy. That's got to be tough.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but we have to wait till May till we find anything more out about that. Okay, well,
Yeah.
before we go, we're actually just about done. I did want to mention for anybody following new and upcoming role playing games, massive multiplayer role playing games. Fractured entered their spring alpha today. New World started one of their testing phases just a couple of days ago. So if you're looking for a new MMO to check out, those are a couple to keep your eyes on. Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
You guys okay? Can we mute the stream? Can we mute the stream somehow?
You're not muted, Doc.
You are not muted. Maybe the stream's muted.
Oh, you know what it
Oh.
is? I think I muted on this, but not on Discord.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
As long as the stream's muted.
Sorry about that, guys.
Things happen. So, while Doc's taking care of what he's got to deal with there, we're getting to the end of things. So I guess we'll go ahead and
Sure.
mention what else that we were working on. Greg, you want to go ahead and tell a little bit about what you have going on outside of this Game Time show?
Like Doc said towards the beginning, third Wednesday of every month, that will be the 21st, I think, of April. Yeah, 21st of April. Game night at the Creamery Art Center. I will also get that event created and posted to the Game Expo Facebook page tomorrow, and share that with Holdfast Brewery, because they're the ones who are nice enough to host our event.
Yeah,
they're good people, and they have they're enforcing mask mandates. They have hand sanitizer on site, so trying to keep everybody safe. If you're not comfortable, don't feel any pressure to show up. But if anybody is doing social reintroduction right, it's them. So hope to see you out there if you're available and looking to play a classic board game, maybe learn a new one, and have some really good beer.
Are you getting it with too hot? I don't think it was too hot.
I also do a live stream on
Give me some more
Sunday
Kleenex,
mornings
Patrick.
from 10 to at least 1 p.m. I go over a bit sometimes if I feel like it. Last Sunday, I actually went
I think
a
it's
little
partly
over
I
4
ran out of
hours.
stuff to drink right at the end there, and it was a little bit on the sour side.
yeah. You stream Sunday mornings.
Combined with
what is
nothing
it you
to
stream?
Mostly story games. Last Sunday, I finished playing Werewolf the Forsaken, or Werewolf the Apocalypse, Heart of the Forest, and played a 2-player round of Monster Prom 2 Monster Camp with Diane. That was a blast.
Is that Werewolf game? Is that the new Werewolf video game that just came out a month or so ago?
It's not the action game that I don't think
Okay.
is out yet. It's a completely story game. It's basically a choose your own adventure video game.
Okay.
But they incorporate a lot of the mechanics of the RPG. They use a dot system to help build your personality. and based on the actions that you choose, and then at a key point in the story, they take the personality traits that you've acquired thus far, and based on that, decide what your auspice is, what phase of the moon you were born under, which in the RPG lore is kind of like astrology. That's what determines what profession, what type of werewolf you're most suited to be.
Gotcha.
Sorry about
Cool.
that, guys.
That's all right.
One of the troubles of having my medical conditions is anything could set me off.
While you had to step away, we went ahead and continued on and was talking about. Greg was just talking about what he does outside of the Game Time show. His stream schedule and stuff. And then I was about to start with mine.
Okay, well, go ahead.
So you can find me over at twitch.tv/LeftClaw Studios or on YouTube if you search for Left Claw Studios, or go to leftclawstudios.com. We're also on Facebook. And it's a joint effort between myself and my best friend Angel, and the two of us kind of started this as a way to kind of share games that we really enjoy. We mostly live stream us playing various games. Our schedule is Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So those 5 nights. Our plan for each night is 9 p.m. and we have differing stuff. I'm mostly playing Super Mario 64 right now for my streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Angel's mostly doing Among Us with a group of people on the other nights, and he's actually doing a stream right now for Among Us. So,
nice.
When we're done here, if you guys are interested in seeing my best friend playing some Among Us online with people, you can jump on over to the Left Claw Studios Twitch channel and join in with them. I told them if I'm up to it, I might, and if they had the room, I might join them after this. But I don't know how. I'm not sure what their lobby is like at the moment. But I'm at least going to jump over there and see how they're doing at the very least. Yeah, that's kind of it. I'm getting I think I'm getting close to finishing Super Mario 64, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm up to like 64, 63 stars. I need 80 apparently to go after Bowser right now. I don't know if there's going to be another bump after that, but the levels are getting kind of tough, but they're fun. All right,
It'll be something to look forward to anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. And as for me, of course, this is my channel here, Gamer Seuss, over here on twitch.tv. And in addition to hosting this show every week with my 2 friends here, I run, usually it's what's called Nostalgia Gaming every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. Although, as I did mention right before I had my episode there, the Fractured MMO is now alpha servers open, and so I usually, when that is open, I suspend a lot of my nostalgia gaming and I play Fractured instead. So if you log in between 2 and 6, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings, if you're up that late, you can get a gander at the new MMO, Fractured, the RPG. It's a fantastic new game. They've actually done some more work on the biomes for this particular test, and then they're working towards building on the siege system this go round. Most test runs run for about a month. So for the next month, I'll probably be like at least spending Wednesday nights, Thursday morning on Fractured for sure on my stream. Other times you can catch me with Nostalgia Gaming. Most of that time it means I'm playing old school RuneScape, either my main account or my Hardcore Iron Man account, which I've managed to keep alive for almost a month now.
Nice.
Which is kind of hard for a Hardcore Iron Man. You get the one.
Man, yeah, you told me about that on another stream, I think a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, God, that sounds intense.
Well, it's like my 8th one trying to get it to stay alive, and he's almost a month old now. I'm quite proud of him now.
Staying alive.
Just hoping I'm not jinxing myself by saying this.
Yeah. You're gonna start up the stream and get swarmed by
Dead.
some random attack.
Oh, I've died from the stupidest stuff. The last time I died, it was poison because I forgot to bring my anti-poison with me.
Oh crap! Have you died from dysentery?
No, there's no dysentery. It's not Oregon Trail. I'm not playing to Oregon Trail. But
okay.
uh,
I think the first time I died of dysentery, I was like, "Who the heck is this Terry guy?" And how did I piss him off?
You dissed him, obviously.
Yeah.
You insulted his friend Sal Manella.
Oh, it's always fun hanging with you guys.
You guys are incorrigible, and that's what I like about you. Okay, we're a little over in time, but we did a pretty good show this week. Next week, we're going to probably set a big chunk aside just to talk the spoiler level of Godzilla versus Kong. So get your viewing in this week because we're not going to hold back on the spoilers next week.
Yeah. I'm also I'm thinking we might want I was thinking about getting another perspective also on the Godzilla versus Kong from my buddy Angel, since he's such a huge Godzilla nut. He watched it last night as soon as it was on. He's never up that late, and he stayed up last night to watch Godzilla versus Kong, which didn't post until like 2 a.m.
Right.
So
well,
I hope you guys don't mind. But if he's able to, if he's can fit it in the schedule, I don't know what his Wednesday is next week.
Have him jump on
I'd
the
like to
Discord.
invite him.
Have him jump on the Discord. I'll add him in.
All right.
Why the hell not?
Yeah.
He
has Discord.
Guest hosts.
He's the one who created our Discord server for our Love Claw Studios stuff.
Yeah.
So
I'll send him an invite, and he can hop on in, and we'll set it up for the next week to have a guest host. And of course, let's see, we got a couple weeks before Hold Fast, so we'll still have, barring complications with work and stuff, we should have all of us here the next couple of weeks. Now I know on the 9th, I go for my second COVID shot, and if it hits me even half as bad as the first one did, there's no guarantee that following Wednesday I'll be worth it for anything. But otherwise,
we'll play it by ear then.
Yeah, play it by ear. But otherwise,
when is that? When's that shot?
The 9th.
Friday
the 9th. So the Wednesday after that, I may or may not be up to it. But I could probably come up and at least set it up and host it, just not be one of the commentators.
Present.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I'll just set it up and play production assistant in the background.
We'll do what we got to do, man.
But anyway, that is if you can ever keep me quiet. That's not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, I'm not gonna talk this week, and then 2 minutes in, hey, so I was thinking.
Yeah, I'll talk your ear off. I'll talk your ear off, kid. No, anyway, so I think we're going to cut it this week. We don't know what else we'll have in store for next week, except, of course, we'll have another 10 or 15 minutes on world building. And remember, if you have any questions or concerns, any part of the nerd subculture you think we're not hitting, or something new comes out that we may not have discovered yet, we're not everywhere. We can't keep our eyes on everything. We try, but things slip by us. I mean, we got our hands on a lot of pies, but if you have something you'd like to see us talk about in the nerd sphere, drop us a line on Facebook. Come into my Twitch here. If you hit ! Discord and channel while the bot is running, it'll give you my Discord server, and I believe the bot is running right now. Looks like it. So let me go ahead and post that just in case. If you want to leave a message in Discord, nope. Doesn't look like it's Oh, I may not have set it up on this new bot on the new computer yet.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's all good.
that's okay. I will get it. I will get it up there and out to you guys. You can join my Discord. Um, let me see. Do I have my Discord link while we're at it? Um, let's see. Invite people. Might as well put this out there. Copy.
All right.
And this one's good for the next 7 days anyway. This link, and it will allow people to go to my Discord server and leave us a message there. Since of course, obviously, we're all on my Discord because that's where we broadcast from. So you can leave a message for me, for Greg, or for Lurch there if you have anything, and if it fits our particular side of things, we'll probably grab onto it. Like if you talk about something in a console game, Lurch will probably be all over it. If it's a board or card game, it could be me or Greg. If it's a role playing game, it could be me or Greg. If it's comic books, movies, and stuff, it could be or Lurch. So we're involved with a whole bunch of stuff. If it's theater, it could be any of us. you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much for your time, guys. We're glad to see you here every week. Look forward to seeing you next week and every week that we can possibly do it. Obviously, inclement weather and other things have, anything that brings the internet down can possibly stop us. But otherwise, we're an unstoppable force.
We're an unstoppable force, except for in inclement weather.
We're
We're not
unstoppable.
the post office. Are you fucking crazy?
We're unstoppable.
Minor technical difficulties. My only weakness.
That always makes me think of what's his name from Yes Man from Jim Carrey. You found his weakness: sub-zero temperatures. Yeah, the claw. No, but yes, that is our one weakness: poor internet reception.
Yeah.
That is our kryptonite here at Game Time. But really, we'll do everything we can to stay in touch with you. And as soon as we have live events going on, like Holdfast, we already have going on, we will make sure to keep you in the know so that you can come out and see us. We miss everybody, and hopefully, as that vaccine gets disseminated, more and more stuff will start opening up and be available again. But until then, may all your rolls be 20. May all your draws be fortuitous and earn that extra life. Have a good time, guys.
Good night.